When people talk about Tomb Raider Legend, it's often considered one of the best Tomb Raider games. It leaves a different take on the franchise, which might trigger some people. So how good was it? And was the drift from the franchise a good thing or a bad thing? I've made 7 videos about Tomb Raider games. I think watching them first would be a good starting point, but it's your choice if you're not interested in comparison. Grab yourself a snack or something, let's go.
It's usually someone else's past you're digging into.
That's where you're wrong, Sid. This has always been what it's about.
Tomb Raider Legend is the first Crystal Dynamic game after our beloved and unjustifiably killed core design was shut down after Tomb Raider The Angel of Darkness. Of course, Tomb Raider Legend serves as a reimagining of the series, almost a reboot so to speak. Typically, being a reboot will upset some fans who got used to the formula and loved Lara Croft and her games the way that they are. And I have my fair share of hating a game which get rid of everything we learned in the past, only for it being a reboot, even great games. But it all come down to one thing. Was the change necessary? Well, ever since Tomb Raider 4 in 1999, people were tired of Lara Croft and her games. It didn't help that the games were rushed and buggy and the quality dropped quite drastically, and in 2003 it was the breaking point for the franchise after releasing a not very loved movie and the worst Tomb Raider game ever. It was the final goodbye for the series, and the sales were down year after year until it reached 1.5 million only in Chronicles. It's worth mentioning that the first Tomb Raider sold 7 million copies, and The Angel of Darkness being such a drama show didn't help the series in any way, shape or form. So in my opinion, Legend was definitely a justifiable reboot. It wouldn't make sense to just make another sequel and promise them something big after Eidos hyped Angel of Darkness to be the next Azura High. I get that some fans will hate it for changing, and you can definitely criticize some of the changes if they were worse, but the truth of the matter is, it was the time to make a big change, and I'm here for it. Tomb Raider Legend didn't feel like a sudden change in any way. If you hate the change, I get it, it's your right. If you loved it, good for you. If you judge the game by itself only, welcome. I will break down as much as I could why I enjoy Tomb Raider Legend and mention how it could have been so much better and what is missing. You see, here where it gets complicated, because our boy here is new in town and he pulled a Splinter Cell conviction card. It changed the formula so much that now it's beyond recognizable, and that doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing, because as we settled earlier that the change was justified. The game now leads a new take on exploration, which oftentimes means sightseeing in areas that might give you goosebumps just by looking at them, where in the past the exploration was you playing. But that sudden change for me was a bit shallow. Why? You see, in the past everything was of value. This door right here, or the stuff you picked, or my equipment, they all had values. Now all of them barely touches the surface of being an element in the game. The stuff that we see, or the locations, the game don't really utilize them that much because of the new approach. So the game felt kinda repetitive at times because of how simple it is. But I do like it, and sometimes even loved it. So let us break down the gameplay elements in order to understand this game more and see how good it truly is. This game heavily focused on shooting, unlike Tomb Raider 3 and 1. It takes the second game's path, so how good it is. It's alright, and disappointing and shallow all at once. So as a game released in 2006, you expect much more of a game which just focuses on luck and shoot. So typically, you can manual aim, which is pretty terrible in this game and inaccurate, and most times enemies are too far away from you. So what's the point of making you miss too many shots? And the luck and shoot, while more fun than before, and perhaps more in-depth, but that simply wasn't enough. The shooting felt so generic, and mostly you shoot the same type of enemies over and over without that feeling of danger, and like 1 in 4 or 3 enemies will drop a med back. So here goes our beloved feeling of danger. Plus you can't switch targets, so in order to switch targets you have to just let go of the aim, and Lara will just target her nearest enemy, which is my biggest gripe with the shooting. And the switching targets, if anyone could do it, good for you. All I'm saying that I'm doing the same thing that the game tell me to in the settings, but I can't switch targets. And even while locking into enemies, Lara drank too much to connect any bullets to her enemies, and it doesn't help that we only have a temporary weapon. So beside your pistol, you can have one more gun. And you should ask me now, how many weapons does the game have? Go on, do it. Okay, only 4 weapons, 5 with the pistols. And the SMG might as well be an assault rifle, so that was disappointing, especially from a game which focused that much on shooting. You can also throw grenades, but the mechanic can go to hell honestly, because it feels like Lara drank the last vodka in a bar full of them. It was sloppy and inaccurate and annoying, but Lara now can avoid bullets by jumping or dodging, which wasn't a right feature. Lara also can kick her nearest enemies and jump over them to go in slow motion. But that's the shooting. While faster and smoother than before, it was mostly boring and listen. Even with all these negatives and how shallow it is, when it happened, mostly I wasn't very annoyed. Yeah, it's no doom by no means, and yeah, it could have been better at least 9 times, but in reality it was just a change of pace, and it did change the pace quite excellently, and that's why I'm glad for it. So leaving the shooting side, let's move on into the second big thing in this game. Let's talk about this thing, because in Legend it's quite important. Lara to me has always been an excellent mover, and that statement stands in 2006 game as well. Lara now is stereotypically agile and moves like a jagger. She definitely can give ballet dancers a run for the money. She is faster and more responsive, and climbing felt way smoother than before. She can jump from ledge to ledge even if there were space between them. She also have one equipment that can go in handy in platforming, which is the grappler. You basically use it to drag things or pull them, or just straight out Batman your way through it, and it's not completely polished, but it's fine enough. Also, she doesn't drag things like she's in her 90s anymore, and the very beautiful mechanic of speeding up while climbing is finally in the game. As I said before, platforming and moving is smoother and faster and better than before. That, however, doesn't go without its fair share of issues, of course. Like sometimes whether something is climbable or not is a complete joke of a thing, like in Mission 2, the wheeling thing. Plus, swimming is even worse than 1999 Tomb Raider 1. How do you even do that? Now there's a button for ascending and a button for descending, and you can't do two moves at the same time. Why? And sometimes Lara can be a bit unresponsive and make stuff by her own way and go against your command. And these issues might seem small enough, but oh my god, were they annoying. Because the game is super short, so when something happened that is against my will in that short of a game, it could easily break the immersion. Like in so many levels, I was enjoying the level and then suddenly a terrible section happened and I was getting frustrated, and I said to myself, why did that happen? It was going so well. And my friends, you best believe every mission had that section, and most likely more than one section. Anyway, back to the point, the platforming in this game, while it has its fair share of unfairness and bullshit, it stands out to be the best in the series by far. And Legends Lara Croft is the most agile and smoother mover Lara Croft we've ever gotten.
What a remarkable contraption.
Now moving into, unfortunately, the third most important thing in this game. This is by far the easiest game in the series, by all aspects, and the puzzles are no different. Trust me, when you question the game's design, whether that was a puzzle or not, I guarantee you that you didn't design the puzzle that well. So let's break it down. Puzzles in this game will be very quick and almost instant moment. So basically, if you played any other Tomb Raider game, the puzzle's gotta be a cake wall for you. But that's for us, Tomb Raider fans. As for the rest of the people that did not play any Tomb Raider games before, it could challenge them a bit. And guys, remember, this is a reboot after all, so judging them just by saying it was too easy is unfair to the game. To me, it follows the same path of the game, which is keeping the base up and balancing things out. You do a puzzle after platforming sections or shooting sections, so when the puzzles happen, while it is very quick and sometimes laughably easy, it was a nice change of pace and let you use your brain for a bit. However, they were a bit shorter for my taste, and probably because I cannot stop comparing to the previous titles, but to sum it all up, I do like them. So that's it about the puzzles. Now Tomb Raider Legends does a thing which is quite different than any other game in the series, and that is the mini sections. Now that includes many things. Let's start with the most important one, the bike sections. So pretty much Lara now can ride a bike. At first I liked it, the bike seems fast and responsive, and there's even jumps and obstacles that you have to avoid the Crash Bandicoot way. Also, you can take medback by arcade style drive into them, and you have to shoot enemies or avoid them as much as possible until the sections is over. I don't have a problem with that. In fact, it helps the game even be more diverse than it already is. But man, these sections drag, and you'd still be doing the same thing. Like here, it took me more than 10 minutes to even finish this section. But I do like them for what they are. But towards the end of the game, I said there's better not be any driving sections anymore, or else there's also good old quick time events here. It's pretty much what you expect from the game in that era. Do this Q2E or you are dead. It happens so sudden, so there's no way to tell whether it's gonna start or not. It feels like a normal cutscene until the game says no, it's a quick time event section. So yeah, they're pretty terrible and generic.
You'd rather die than hand it over.
No. For this one!
Finally, we have the boss fights. You have a boss fights almost on every mission in the end. They are pretty basic and 80% of them are just gimmicky. And what does that mean? It means pretty much you only have to do one thing and repeat it until the boss is not breathing anymore. Ring the bell and pull the lever, do it 4 times, and it's good night for God of War's first boss. Or this monster boss fight, pull the lever, repeat it 4 times, man the Tesla machine, pull and push this magnetic ball, repeat it 4 times, and it's good night. While not being great, I enjoyed them for what they are, again, and it was a nice change of pace. And maybe this level of almost no challenge is what this game needs, but definitely could have gone a little harder.
Lara! Get down here! there, you slacker.
Sometimes you play as Lara in the past, which was neat sections to give the story more of a charm, and there's even film grain, or I don't know what they call it, and I do find it a very nice detail. In these sections, there are some alternative things that happen, like you have no grenades but you have flares, or Lara cannot use the grappler, so she have to push things by her hands, similar to the other things I mentioned earlier, a nice change of pace. There's even more dopamine for trophy hunters here. This game now have bronze and silver and gold awards, and the rarity of them is respectively mentioned, and they offer a nice off mission to help you explore more and more, and helps the replay value of this game. And the final minigame in this game is the Craft Manor. So the Craft Manor now is big. Lara can change her outfits and do a bunch of things, collect awards, or just train more and more for the game. And the music is just hauntingly great. To me, this is the best Craft Manor ever in a Tomb Raider game. If you're interested, give it a go. The glitches. Damn man, this game is super buggy and it's not even fair. Like one patch or something would fix everything. So it's been mentioned earlier that this game is short, right? Yeah, I lost like 1 hour getting the controls adjusted. And holy damn, is this game's bizarre in that aspect. Like I was plugging in the controller and I get mouse and keyboard keys. Why? So I was hella confused whether I was supposed to do. The controller and the settings were already enabled, so having the buttons as mouse and keyboard didn't make any sense. So you have to put your controller buttons in the configuration. So even configuration is not enough, because this game all it takes the first option for the button and it makes it primary, so you have to put 2 keys that you don't use and then input the controller button. Also, there are some buttons that doesn't work, like the wall or switch targets and vehicles, at least for me. It was super frustrating, and in one section I have to use the manual aiming, so it was set by default to be the thumbstick, and for some reason the game didn't recognize that, so I searched and searched in the mission and then nothing happens. I used Uncle YouTube and there were manual aiming in this game. I couldn't do it before by clicking the gears, so when I changed it into another button it worked. What the hell, game? Also, the save game is bugged. Basically, you save your game and the game returns you to the last checkpoint, which is super weird, and if it's a glitch it's very annoying, especially for platforming sections, can waste a lot of your time. So I saved and backed me 7 minutes before I saved and I got super frustrated. That's if it's glitch. However, if it's not a glitch, if it's intentional, it's even worse. The game already have an auto save and it works fine mostly, not always, because sometimes it throws you back a lot and you have to skip the cutscenes and stuff, so that's about it about the save. There's also sometimes which I'm not quite sure if it's a bug or just a stupid design, and that is the boss's dialogue. So basically the bosses will keep speaking non-stop as much as they are alive.
It's time to die! Have I satisfied your curiosity now? And it's time to die!
I hope it's a glitch, because dear god, that could have been very annoying if you were playing the game. Also, sometimes the game just loses shit and gives up the physical laws, going under earth to the nether realm, or jumps that makes Mario apply for a McDonald's job, and yeah, it happened a lot and I wasn't looking forward to it, especially that the game is supposed to be a redeeming for the series after the Angel of Darkness. But however, it's not very annoying, and yeah, it happens once or twice in every level, so it did break the immersion. It's much more like Call of Duty World War II glitches, which when they happen, you laugh it off and call it a day. So that's the gameplay. Pretty decent, and the main focus of diversity serves it a lot, but make no mistake, there is much room for improvement, and a lot of things in the past could have been handled better, and best believe the game should have been this simpler. And I'm not saying this comparing to the other Tomb Raider games, no, just simple of a game period. But however, as a reboot, and to me, I enjoyed it mostly. It goes for something special and it didn't happen before in this franchise, and it succeeded in my opinion.
Lara? You okay?
Of course.
Just checking.
Moving into less important part of Tomb Raider games. So Lara is in search for her lost friend Amanda, which is lost due to something related to ancient things. Also, she has some doubt that her mother is still alive as her father believed. So basically, she chases her past. In short terms, this is the best Lara Croft we've ever gotten. She shows emotion and fear and being a badass all at once.
Makes sense right this second, or I swear I'll execute you where you stand!
And the story was compelling and will keep you interested mostly. Exploring tombs and ancient stuff have never been more in-depth in any other Tomb Raider title before it. The voice acting and the cast could have been better, but Lara Croft, which is the most important person here, is excellent. It does not feature the same voice actor as before, but she handles Lara Croft even better in my opinion. She captures every emotion this character has to offer effortlessly, and what helps her even more is the amount of emotion and good writing this game has to offer. Of course, the animation as well. That couldn't been said for the rest of the cast, so don't get me wrong, I have no problem with someone yapping in my ear through a radio, but these guys are just pure annoying, and that's because everything they say is sarcasm. And at first, it was fine and charming, but do it 200 times and I'd punch you in the face for it. They complain about Lara and her unsafe approach to things 24/7.
Bro, what exactly are you doing? Lara, this is crazy people stuff. Don't ever do that again. Man, I don't know what she's thinking. She's crazy.
And I'm like, do you want to be here instead of me? No, come on, please. Okay, then shut the up and just watch me. Now, as for Amanda, I don't know why the game thought we're gonna care about her. We just saw her briefly and we don't know who and what she is. All we know is that Lara cares for her, and that's not a good writing. So we left her in a tomb after a monster grabbed her, and she is 100% dead. So Lara runs away after trying to risk her own life to save her. And I said to myself, please game, don't do that. You run away and left me. Card, please don't do it, please.
You're the one being left behind this time. Sorry.
Yep, the game did it, and it is as stupid as you think. However, towards the end, everything gets better and better. We even get to see stuff from Lara's past and revisit them, which was magical, and what helped it is how cool it is and how atmospheric this game looks. I played the old gen graphics since everybody complained about the new gen and how it breaks half of the levels, and the game looks gorgeous. The lighting and water and the particle effect are just superior to most games in 2006, and the sightseeing was definitely gorgeous as well. And what I like that we visited almost every habitat, like jungles, deserts, snow, ancient tombs. Yeah, I love the art style of this game, and because the characters were going for more of a cartoony type look, it helped the aging of this game quite well. And the soundtrack is great, and it's one of my best soundtracks that I heard in recent memory, perhaps even in a video game period. I don't really know. It has that great mix and phases that trigger if you enter in action mode or in stealth. And when you climb or do exploration, it serves it and makes it 10 times better. Definitely the best in the series and one of the greats. And honestly, looks and story-wise, it just gets better and better the more you play it, until finally you reach the end, and in a typical fashion from games in that era, it's epic, and you have a special sword to splash into enemies in the most epic fashion way ever, which I wish lasted a bit longer because of how great it is. And the credit runs out, and when the music started, I wasn't thinking about the issues or the missed things from the previous games. I was thinking, what have I just experienced? All the great memories in this game just flashed into my eyes, and I got that feeling that you mostly get after a great art, and this game gave me that feeling in the ending. Tomb Raider Legend tries to do so many things, and it's not the best in any of them, but that doesn't matter that much. It was all about the exploration and the adventure, which mixes all the story and the gameplay elements to give you an experience you've never had before, and thank God I did. I loved my time with this game, and I'm looking forward for even more stuff this series has to offer now. It's true that the game does have shortcomings here and there, and some stuff needs more work, and it could have been less buggy, at least for the PC version, but damn it was so cool and an adventure that stay in my mind for a bit. This is one of my longest videos for a reason in this channel, and I did make it that long for a purpose, since I know how strongly fans feel about this game, whether it's love or hate. I hope I did it justice. So this game took me an exact 7 hours and 35 minutes, and that's with the credit and the craft manor. Remove them and you'll get only 6 hours and 18 minutes. That's by far the shortest game in the series, but to be honest, most of it was very fun, and I'm glad I played it. And if this video takes too much time to upload, I'm really sorry. I've been very sick, and I hope my voice isn't annoying in this video, and if it is annoying, it's my channel anyway. Okay, that has been it. I've made 7 videos thus far about this franchise. Check what interests you. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.